And a good spiritual morning to you once again. Thanks for joining us today for a quick chat and, of course, our morning cup of coffee.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being with us on this cold winter day.
Absolutely.
Hope you're having a good day.
Well, it's not that cold.
Yeah.
I mean, we're spoiled.
Yes.
We're in California, so we can never complain about the cold.
That's right.
So we're debating whether or not to talk about this because I don't know how many people follow sports. But if you follow sports in any way, and this isn't really about sports, so don't get afraid. Don't turn it off because you think we're talking about sports. Again, it's just a jumping off point for a conversation.
It's just coffee talk.
Yeah. So one of the big topics right now that happened over the weekend in sports was it Saturday night, I think. Saturday night, the big trade, the big NBA basketball trade. Some people are calling it the biggest trade in NBA history, or one of them. It's a big trade. Anyway. Luka Doncic is being traded from, and I never know if I'm saying his name right, but let's just say Luka.
I think they know, yeah.
If you say Luka, people know.
Okay.
He's being traded from the Dallas Mavericks to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers trading Anthony Davis to the Dallas Mavericks. Now, there are other components of the trade, but that's the big thing. They made a big trade.
What was the first thing you thought of when you heard about it? Like what caught your attention?
I was surprised. Luka's a great player. I mean, they're both great players. I think of the two, Luka has more long-term talent and potential and immediate impact. And so it was just kind of like, I was surprised. I never thought that so Luka is a franchise player. That's the thing. Anthony Davis is not a franchise player. And the Lakers have LeBron James. So they still have LeBron, albeit he's like 70 years old. But they have LeBron. He's at the end of his career. We all know that. You're not going to play till you're 60. He's like 40.
Okay.
So he's winding up his career. Luka's a young guy. He's still in I think he's in his 20s. And so it's kind of like, it's a difficult thing. Who got the better end of the deal? And it's kind of like, well, maybe it works for both of them depending on what they need. Maybe Dallas didn't need Luka anymore or want Luka anymore. And they needed a big man, so they got Anthony Davis. Luka is kind of like sometimes trains as a European, right?
Okay.
Which means he doesn't train.
Oh.
And, he's not, you can tell he's not fit. He should be a lot more fit than he is.
He's not polished.
Well, not polished, just literally, you can tell he doesn't look in shape.
Oh, okay.
For a basketball
player. As an
player.
athlete.
Right. As an athlete, you're a professional athlete. You get paid to play a sport. So in my mind, in this day and age, right, to avoid injury and to be at your peak, you should look amazing, right? You should be ripped. You should look good. Okay?
And he's not there.
No, this guy looks like he lays tile on the side. You know what I'm saying? He looks like a construction worker.
Okay.
He's not in great shape. So you can tell he's got the work ethic of a European. No offense. When I say European, I mean basketball player. But then you've got Anthony Davis, who you breathe on him wrong and he gets injured. So it's kind of like,
oh, interesting.
You've got a guy that gets injured a lot. You got a guy that's out of shape a lot. And which is going to happen? We're hoping that LeBron's work ethic will rub off on Luka, maybe, because LeBron has been playing for 30 years and he's not gotten really injured, which is amazing. And that's testimony to his work ethic and his training, right? His conditioning.
He's a good player. Yeah.
So I'm kind of amazed. I know that a lot of Dallas fans are not happy. I think kind of the same way when LeBron left Cleveland was not happy. In that case, they blamed LeBron, right?
Yeah.
Because LeBron wanted to go to Miami to win championships.
But the Lakers seem to draw.
Yeah, that's part of the difficulty. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't seem like the fans are blaming Luka.
Okay.
It seems like they're blaming Dallas. They're blaming the Mavericks. They're blaming the organization. But you're correct. I mean, as a market, LA is a big market. You talk about markets in sports. It's a big market. It's LA. Think about the players that they've had.
Kids wear a lot of Lakers jerseys.
Right. LA. When you make an argument for the GOAT, leaving out Jordan, you make an argument for LeBron. You make an argument for Kareem. You can make an argument for Magic. Okay. Right. They're all Lakers. If you try to make an argument for Kobe, try to make an argument for Wilt Chamberlain, for Jerry West, they're all Lakers. You can tell you're
from LA.
Shaquille O'Neal. Like they went from, from Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West era. Then they got Kareem. Then they got Magic, right? And then a little gap. But then they got Shaq, then they got Kobe, then they got
just kept
LeBron.
going.
It's like,
Okay.
it's one team. It's like the Yankees, you know what I'm saying? It's like they're so stacked and loaded because that market is a huge market.
Do you think as a player, it's attractive to go to LA too? I mean, it's Hollywood. You never know, right? They
sure
probably
it
have a
is.
lot of money. They're probably obviously paying all these guys very well. So
yes,
it's not about the money.
As
but
a
it's-
market, well, it's not just, the thing is, it's the totality of the whole package. It's not just, well, I want to be in a beautiful city. It's kind of like, I also, as for my brand, remember, these people are branding themselves.
Oh, that's right.
For my brand, my stock goes up. For my brand.
Because now I'm a Laker.
Now I'm a Laker. I'm
Yeah.
in a market that's huge. So I'm going to get more from a contract from that organization, but I'm
Okay.
also exposed to celebrities. I'm going to get more endorsements. I'm moving in different circles. Like the whole
I'm
thing.
going to marry a Kardashian. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah.
I see what you're
that
saying.
seems
It's
to
a
be true
whole-
for half the NBA. It
it's a
doesn't matter
whole
where you're from.
package.
You'll marry a Kardashian at some point.
I apologize.
Yeah, don't apologize. It's true. No, but I think, so anyway, you're probably saying, you said it wasn't about sports. When are you going to start talking about
That's
Christ
right.
and get to the church? It's just fun to talk about and kick around because, yeah, I can't claim to be a big NBA fan anymore. I'm one of those old
You
guys.
were.
I'm one of those old guys that says, now I don't really like the game the way that it used to be. I liked the game. I grew up watching the game. I'd have to say in the 80s. That's when I grew up really watching. I watched some in the 70s, but not really, more in the 80s. And I grew up in LA. So I grew up with the Kareem Magic dynasty. I grew up, with the rivalry with the Celtics until I moved to Boston because that's where seminary is. So I had no choice. And I was in Boston for almost 7 years. Got to meet Larry Bird because they used to practice at the seminary.
Yeah.
So I would see their practices. I got to meet Bird and McHale and Parrish.
And they were larger
DJ
than
and
life.
Danny Ainge. Well, literally, they're huge.
Yeah.
And see the visiting teams come and practice. So it was great.
That's nice.
But the reality is this idea of sort of feeling a connection. So we're talking about the reactions of people. People are reacting. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan now, but I grew up a fan. But the fans now, they're so invested and so connected, right, to their team as a way of it connecting them to their community, it creates a sense of community.
Yeah.
To
You're
sort of say,
part
well,
of
this
something.
is our team. This
Yep.
represents our city. This represents us, right? And so I feel connected to that in a positive way. I
Yeah.
think it's interesting. And I hope, here's the clumsy segue, I hope that we feel that connection to our parish,
Yeah.
right? I hope we feel a connection spiritually to our spiritual family and our spiritual
home.
community
Yeah.
and our spiritual home,
Yeah.
even better said, that we're connected that way.
Yeah.
And that people feel that connection and that
Yeah.
same sort of passion and love. The same thing that's making people make all of these videos, screaming and yelling and being upset that they lost Luka in Dallas. I hope that they feel the same way about the connection and the passion to their local church, to their parish, because that's their connection to community.
Yeah. And I think it's fun because I can see, especially the young adults saying, come and visit with us. Come to our parish on Sunday. There is that sense of belonging. And I think in life, it's hard to be isolated. It feels great to be a part of a community. And that's
Sure.
what you want your parish to be. You want it, you go to work or you go to school, you want Sundays and the activities that the parish offers during the week. You want that to make you feel whole. And
Right.
and you've seen that even games where people are punching each other because they love. Now, obviously,
yeah. Well, that's not good.
unfortunately, people probably like their sports
We're
team a
talking
little
about
bit more than they
basketball,
talk about parish.
not
Yeah.
soccer. We're not talking about
Well, that's a whole
European
other
football.
That's a whole other thing.
But you're right. What's interesting is think about it. Those of us that go to games, those of you that go to games, I don't go much anymore. Can't afford it. And it's one of the reasons the NBA is not doing well, because it costs an arm and a leg to go see a game. And even if you want to see a game online, just to watch it on TV, for us, it used to be free. It used to be on one of the networks. You'd flip around and you knew who was carrying your team and you could watch them. Now it's like, okay, what streaming service what cable do I have to pay for to be able to see it? And then I can't even see those games. I've got to get this league pass and I've got to pay extra for that. And as the economy gets tighter and tighter and I'm looking at my bills and I'm trying to cut things out, I'm sorry, NBA season pass, NFL season, those things go.
Yeah.
And so viewership is down. But the reality is those of us that go to games, those of you that spend the $300 a ticket to go see a game, why are you doing that? You're doing that for the experience of being part of something.
Yeah, you love your team.
You want to be surrounded by 10,000 people, let's
like
say,
you.
like you, cheering for the same thing, feeling that connection and that community and that passion about the same thing. That's what church, in a very different way, is supposed to be. You're supposed to go and feel connected and to be surrounded and encouraged, right? To have a network of support, to be encouraged with that same level of passion, just
with the same goals,
right? But about salvation, right? Not about
the win,
not about putting a ball in a little imaginary hoop or a little hoop, but about actual salvation in Christ.
Yeah.
And if we could take that same amount of passion and dedication and camaraderie and channel it into our spiritual life, because you mentioned young adults, you said young adults want to share.
Yeah, I mean, I think as we're older, we're just kind of surviving. But I think as I'm seeing young adults and even our kids, or when people go and they go to young adult conferences, like, come and visit my parish. Hey, you live near me, or I meet you at school. You're Orthodox too. Have you been to my church?
Right.
I think there's a joy in that because they want that friendship to be part of Sunday also.
And I think there's just the flip side of that is there are also a lot of people that have no real passionate connection to their parish. And that was something that you see in a major city. We saw that in Chicago.
Yeah, people would drive by other.
You've got 25 Greek Orthodox churches probably within an hour or two of each other. And you would see people driving by 10 churches to go to their church, which does show a connection. But you would also see people either on the north side or the south side where you've got a cluster of 4 or 5 churches within a 15-minute driving distance, sort of just shopping around from year to year and just sort of drifting from year to year. Where do you go? Well, I was baptized at this church, but I was married at this church, but I attend this church, but my family goes to that church. Like, you're spiritually a nomad, right? You're just a wanderer. You're spiritually homeless.
Yeah.
Pick one place and make it your home and stick with it, right?
Yeah.
Just commit already to make something your spiritual home. And that's the same thing. Even if you're in a city and you only got one church, commit to that church and say, okay, this is my, for good or bad, better or worse, this is my parish.
Yeah.
This is where I go. This is part of, for however many bad trades the organization makes, this is my team, right?
Yep.
The Mavericks, they have to get over it. The fans have to say, okay, you guys messed up and you got rid of Luka. Now let's see what's going to happen with Anthony Davis. They're still going to go to the games.
Yeah.
They're still going to try to support their team.
They'll grow to love it.
And for the church, it's the same thing. We need a support system. We need some place to connect with people and to have that sort of feeling of home and of community and of parish. That's what a parish should be. And that's what we should be trying to find in our local church so that we can connect with people. And as we draw closer to Christ, we connect with those people and we get closer and closer to Christ and do that each and every day.
Amen.